Welcome to Real Flix Reviews. We're like a book club for people who hate reading. This week we're continuing on with our very Tarantino Christmas. And this week it was my pick. We're doing Reservoir Dogs, made in 1992, and we bring you movie news at the end of the program. This week we have Jonathan Charney, James Stevens, and the man who loves that little box, Ryan Preston. This week was my pick, and we're doing the movie Reservoir Dogs, made in 92. Which one of you guys has what it's about?
Well, I like Dogs. You like Dogs?
Wrong movie.
Sure, I like that.
Anyway, after a simple jewelry heist goes terribly wrong, the surviving criminals begin to suspect that one of them is a police informant. And that's pretty much the whole premise of the movie.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it right there.
Now, this one has Harvey Keitel, Tim Roth, Michael Madsen, Steve Buscemi, Chris Penn. He's got a great cast. Even Quentin Tarantino has, 3 lines in this movie?
No, he has a pretty long movie.
He gave himself a couple of little speeches, as he usually does. He had a monologue in the beginning on the Like a Virgin thing.
Yeah, that's very true. But then I also kind of think of, Mr. Brown sounds a lot like Mr. Shit.
Yeah, that's his other,
that's his other little bit.
Well, this is, I always thought this funny. We did this kind of in reverse order because this one came out before Pulp Fiction.
Right.
And it starts
a lot before
out
Inglourious Basterds.
And it has an amazing cast. And then 2 years later, you have Pulp Fiction, which is known for reviving a couple of actors' career.
Yes.
Sure. Absolutely.
Now, I'll start off because I got to say, I am a fanboy of this movie.
Yeah, you should try watching it with him. Dear God, he's quoting the movie most of the time.
Ryan knows.
I was doing the same thing by myself, if it's any consolation.
Ryan knows about this movie. I remember early on when Ryan and I were still becoming friends.
Before he knew he liked me.
I used to tell a lot of jokes. And that was one of the things I did was...
You did? I never heard you say anything funny.
I talked to Ryan about the Commode story. And pretty much when he's talking about the Commode story, he describes how to tell a joke, and it applies for even actors. Is you get the bit, the main parts, and then you make the rest your own. And that's one of the things I remember telling Ryan is, that's how you do a good joke. And that I've always thought was a great part of that movie is that scene right there where, Tim Roth is talking and he's getting familiar with this joke that he's going to be using to get in to there. One of the things I put this movie up to the scale of our show that we've come up with, if it doesn't hold up as well as I initially thought. There's a lot of plot holes.
I didn't see a whole lot of plot holes. I saw a whole lot of just kind of random little production kind of bits that, because obviously I think this was his directorial debut. It wasn't his intro into the movie business. He had written True Romance before this, but it was the first one he directed. So there's just those little things, but then it was the style of it, like when Tim Roth loses his accent a little bit because he seems to not be able to keep it.
Well, you try keeping an accent when you're shot in the gut.
Well, no, not that part. When he was actually the Commode story part, when he's sitting there going over his dialogue.
He does.
Just a couple of words he drops. The way he says "Lost Boys."
Yeah.
Just
trying to watch
little things when he's talking, when he's actually telling the Commode story, when he's in the thing, his voice goes up, a couple octaves. Same thing when he's screaming in the backseat of Larry's car. It was just the little things like that, but it was also the little things that sold the movie, like just the perspective of the camera, always placing it in someplace interesting, that kind of shit.
Yeah. Well, I did think that. I pointed out to John is that when they're in the little room, the office, which I think is one of the better parts of that movie, is that the Chris Penn and Michael Madsen playing around like little boys.
Yeah.
Chris Penn starts sweating like
a
pig.
Yeah.
And you know it's from those lights that are shoved into that little tiny room.
I thought you were going to say it's because he was a big guy.
Well, that too. They only scuffed
help.
on the ground for 30 seconds at best.
But yeah, the dude's also wearing a tracksuit too. No, he was wearing a suit. Never mind.
He was a big Coke fan.
Yeah, that too. But if you look at Michael Madsen, he's also sweating too, and it's got to be from the lights that are, in that little tiny set, if that was a set, or they just jammed it into a room.
I think they just jammed it into a room.
But you know, you are right. You know, this was not Quentin Tarantino's film debut. This was his directing debut, and Harvey Keitel is even he's a
co-producer.
Co-producer. Thank you.
Right.
I know it was one of those two.
Yeah, Danny DeVito's on the
but I
Pulp
mean,
Fiction.
he already had his entire group of people that he still worked with. He had Sally Menke as the editor.
Yeah.
Lawrence Bender was still producing shit with him.
Yeah.
He had his core group. I mean, and you can really see. To me, what this movie is, it's not like we said about Inglourious Basterds. It's not your thesis film. This isn't your masterpiece. It was the beginning of a great career. It's like, oh, I want to see everything this guy is going to do from now on because I know the next one's going to be a little better than this.
Yeah.
I was going to bring up the lighting choices. I started noticing. You've seen this movie a ton of times. You start just noticing the little things.
Yeah.
And the lighting, I love the way everything was just sort of naturally lit. Everything was kind of dulled down, especially in the warehouse. You could just see, like little bits of just sort of odd lighting, which you don't see in movies because everybody tries to light it like a movie. You can tell everything he did in this movie was trying to make it as much like real life as possible. Well, from the conversations to the light structure to just
how much on the lighting was choice or cost? Because this movie was made really
I think
cheaply.
just sort of by lighting, maybe even a lack of lighting. Like, okay, we're just somebody open a window for you get some light in here, kind of thing.
Well,
so whatever happened to be there.
You brought up a good point. Is the dialogue was written specifically? It seemed like to keep. Like Steve Buscemi says, is you want to keep it as minimum as possible, so you find random things to talk about.
Right.
Like they started out around a table discussing the song "Like a Virgin."
One of my favorite scenes in the movie,
Tipping.
just the way the camera circling around, kind of catching everybody. Nobody does that round table kind of shot anymore. Usually, you sit everybody on one side, something like that. But
Avengers.
Going back and forth, and you're just kind of picking up little bits and things about the characters as they go on, and it couldn't be more of a natural conversation,
Yeah, so that's one of the big things that I have to say is the writing in here is fantastic. I mean, Mr. Blunt has some of the best lines ever. Are you gonna bark, little doggy? Are you gonna bark all day, little doggy? Or are you gonna bite?
Except for the fact you use that in real life.
And then I have used it in real life.
I've seen them.
And then the other one is the one of. If they hadn't done what I told them not to do, they'd still be alive. I mean, I love Michael Madsen. I mean, this is after watching this movie and then looking at his career up until Kill Bill. He really didn't do anything after that.
Well, he was.
But he's a great actor.
He did Free Willy, dude. Come on,
dude.
Well, he was
that's a tank on his career.
Well,
man.
there was that movie with Charlie Sheen. It was Above the Law or Beyond the Law. It was the one where he played a biker named Blood.
Okay, so
his
that's
role
what
was
I'm
actually
saying.
pretty good though. That acting role, if you actually watch it, is really similar to this.
Yeah, he did a good job with that role. But I mean, they weren't blockbusters. I mean, Free Willy was the closest he got to a blockbuster.
Well, it was the closest he ever got to a mainstream type of movie.
Outside of Kill Bill.
Well, Kill Bill was mainstream just because so many people it's just after a certain point you just cross over.
I agree with Ryan. The only reason why I think Kill Bill became popular is because everybody started really liking Tarantino. Otherwise,
Tarantino became popular.
Yeah,
you know what
that's
I mean?
the only
His movies became mainstream. It just
he did.
It was like the Beatles. You can't be you can't be counterculture when the majority of the people like your shit. Then you're just culture.
Well,
that's what Tarantino did. I mean, he was counterculture for a second with Reservoir Dogs, and then he just crossed over into everybody likes his shit.
No, I think everybody caught up to Tarantino.
Right. Yeah.
Well, what I was trying to say about Michael Madsen is Michael Madsen, if you actually look at him on IMDb, he has 213 acting roles.
Sure. Yeah.
How many starring or main characters has he really played?
Well, in how many big movies or how many things that you know? I mean, he's got a lot of.
That's what I mean.
He's got a lot of starring roles in a lot of just kind of indie movies. Small releases, direct to DVD kind of shit. He's just a crazy working actor.
The fact that he can make a career out of that is actually impressive.
It is.
Really, I mean, there's people like him and Steve Buscemi and
Trees Lounge?
And Tim Roth, to a certain degree, not so much anymore.
Trees Lounge?
Well, no. Well, that was a long time ago. Well, that was Steve Buscemi. But my point is they're those people that don't do the crazy big movies as often as the big name actors do, but they're available to do everybody else's kind of stuff.
Yeah,
with a variety of the big names. You know what I mean? You see Steve Buscemi's name in something, you want to go see it, and it's probably just some like indie director's film or something.
Well, part of that, I guess, not to do too much of a sidebar, is because of the people choosing the casting. You've got like Matthew Lillard, who's a great actor, but they never choose him for big name movies.
Yeah,
right.
He gets stuck in roles like A Name of the King,
right,
or Wing Commander.
Name of the King 2.
Or Wing Commander, right?
He wasn't in the second one.
He wasn't? I
No.
thought it was. Okay.
The second one has our favorite actor Dolph Lundgren.
That's right.
Awful movie.
Anyway, but yeah, I mean, another guy is that I like Steve Buscemi.
Oh, yeah,
I don't think he's a great actor. He really isn't. He plays either a creepy guy or a crazy creepy guy. There's really no middle ground for him in any of it.
Well, because he's got that face, and
he does.
Face, you don't have to go into a whole lot of backstory with that face.
I mean, the other thing,
just kind of like introduce the character, and the audience immediately recognizes him as, oh, that's the creepy guy.
Well, another thing, and you brought it up, and I'm going to push on it a little bit more, is if he's got the money to fix his teeth, but he can't, because that's another thing.
His like, it would be weird. He would look weird.
Yeah.
I think he might look more like a serial killer.
Yeah. So I mean,
hello, Clarice.
I really do like him. He plays a really great role in this one. He doesn't play a creepy guy, to be honest.
No,
he plays the one who
about as normal of a guy as you can get, aside from the jewelry heist guy.
Another thing I want to point out about this movie is I really love the soundtrack, and I know you do too, Ryan.
Yeah, hell yeah. I was actually going to look it up a minute ago.
Steelers Wheel.
It's got just every good song. Like, I cannot...
Ooga chaka, ooga chaka.
James, I know, like you, we have the same mind on this one. I can't listen to Little Green Bag by George Baker Selection without hearing Tim Roth scream, I'm dying in the back of the car.
I'm that way within the middle of you.
I can't listen to Steelers Wheel without wanting to cut somebody's ear off.
Yeah. I mean, that really took that song to a whole nother level. I mean, even Itchy and Scratchy did a thing of that.
Exactly. They did a parody of it.
If you guys don't know who Itchy and Scratchy is, shut up. So that is really great.
We apologize to all of our 15-year-old listeners who
go watch something cool.
So apparently the Simpsons are considered cool.
Yeah, well, not after 2002. So I mean, I really
thanks for the disclaimer.
But now, like I said in the initial of my thing, I don't know, John, do you got any more points?
Well, I do, yeah.
Okay, we'll go ahead with your points. I think Ryan and I are pretty much summed up here.
Well, I wanted to say one more thing, actually, and then I'll let John wrap his thoughts. The reason that all these people had good moments in these movies is because Tarantino, like I said, the last episode, he's the one of the few directors that gives his actors moments in the movie to breathe and figure out, where the moment is going. He just lets moments happen. He doesn't do a lot of crazy edits to go all over the place, doesn't take everything a bunch of times. He lets people have the conversation, and that's where you get good stuff.
He may move the scenes around, but the acting, the important parts he leaves.
Yeah, he lets the actors act, though. He lets them get into it.
One thing I noticed that I loved about this movie is the angles. If you actually watch, there's almost no flat, non-angled scenes in the entire thing. And one of the things that was, not an angle scene was Michael Madisau. But he wasn't in the center.
What?
Madisau, however you say it. Madsen. But if you look, it was the scene in the warehouse when he was drinking. He wasn't in the center of the film. He was off to the right or the left. Mm-hmm. Everything on here is angled. Nothing's really center stage. I think the reason being is a lot of the scenery, the setting is a big character of it too. That big giant warehouse, which is full of caskets. I don't know if anybody ever noticed. It's a mortuary.
That plays a big character in the movie. I mean, it's sort of the way that like an elevator would play in a movie if people were trapped in it. It's part of the. It's a character, you know.
Because this is exactly what I wrote. I said I love the angles used from the long hallway shot in the beginning to the angled close-up shots to the off-centered shot with Mr. Blonde. The other part is Michael Madsen. How do you spell his name? Madsen has a very laid-back delivery for his character, making his character seem even more of a psycho. Because he doesn't really put a lot of emphasis on his words. It's more just kind of rolled off the tongue, you know.
Right. Like really kind of. Yeah, that real Southern California. Just what?
Yeah, because he says, "I'm gonna torture you too." Well, to be honest, I like torturing people.
Right. Yeah.
This should have won an award for the most original choice for music during a torture scene ever.
Sure.
I mean, I agree with you guys. The fact that chose that song, that should have won an award just because it's the most hilarious torture scene ever. He's dancing and.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, every time I hear the song, I don't go out and cut somebody's ear off, but I do the little Madsen shimmy.
It makes me chuckle every time I hear the song.
It makes me smile every time I do it. It's
exactly. Awesome. And I don't know why, but I still love Mr. Pink. He's probably my favorite character in the whole movie.
Oh, sure. I think he became sort of the cult underdog favorite. You know, everybody just liked him going ape shit. I mean, he was like the Daffy Duck of this Looney Tunes cast.
Especially since you guys said he was born typecasted. So it's just a great character. Because you expect him to be like Rockhound in Armageddon, just going crazy.
God, I hope not.
So,
I also wanted to point out one of my favorite things about this movie was the little interstitials by Stephen Wright.
Yeah.
As the radio DJ, Billy Super Sounds of the 70s. Oh God, I love that so much.
And the other part is the dialogue. The dialogue, the way this movie is written, is quintessential Tarantino.
Right.
It's amazing. The reason why I don't tip by Steve Buscemi in the beginning.
Yeah.
Is great. I mean, I've
yeah,
actually
heard... and then everybody else going back and forth with him. What do you mean you don't tip? Shut up.
He's convinced me. Give me my $1 back.
Exactly. Heard... But it's almost as if like he sat around with people and just recorded a conversation and wrote it down verbatim. Because how do you write dialogue that flows that naturally? You know.
He can't.
But that's what he's become known for. You know?
He should be able to hear it.
Oh, jeez. I love the movie. So I'm curious. What was your rating, Ryan?
I give it a 4, dude, for a lot of reasons. Even the little things aside, like you said, the camera angles, everything about it was just done in a way that you can tell this is exactly what he wanted to do. Like this is how I want to tell the story, and it to me it plays really well. The characters are amazing. He let the characters do what they wanted to do. The writing was incredible. I'll forgive Tim Roth losing his accent, but the way that he moves the story along, I think, is my favorite thing. Because most times, a writer would get really sort of fantastical or strange things would happen. That would like there would be a big turn in something in the the second to third act that the big conflict thing that never really seemed to happen. It seemed like just the situation just slowly reaching a boiling point. So and nobody tells a story like that, and it just built the tense the tenseness up in it for me the whole time. I love it.
So he actually used the basis of the story, the robbery, to move the story along instead of conflict.
The entire time.
That's
that
the
was
motivator.
The whole effing thing, dude. He started with this one thing and just turned the heat on and just let everybody's minds kind of do the moving along of the story.
I am curious, though, how much of this was actually written down, or how much of the conversations were actually off the cuff. That's the one thing I've always wanted to know.
The characters seem to be pretty fleshed out, though, and Tarantino doesn't strike me as the kind of person. I mean, he's become known for his screenplays, in particular.
Yeah.
So I would at least be led to believe, that he
was scripted.
Yeah, it was pretty well scripted. Maybe a couple of choices made by the actors here and there, but I don't think he just kind of let them run with it. It seems too good.
So what about you, James? What's your score?
I give this one a straight out 4 because there's a couple things that, I mean, I am a fanboy of this movie. I like this movie. I think this one is really well done. If any director, producer or anybody wants to see how to break into Hollywood, this is like the manual for them. It's low budget. There's not a lot of scenery. It's mostly story. There's action, and it's story.
And most of the clothes belong to the actors themselves.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are just easy, well done, and done very minimalist.
Yeah, well, what James is trying to say is how this movie shows exactly how much you can accomplish with very, very little.
Yes, exactly. I mean, Quentin Tarantino, if you've ever heard him discuss this movie, he pretty much says that he wrote this one on like the back of napkins and little scraps of paper and then formulated it together and put it out. He sent this to Harvey Keitel. Wasn't expecting Harvey Keitel to do it. He even said that if Harvey Keitel didn't play Mr. White, they weren't going to do it.
Yeah.
Harvey Keitel had no idea who this guy was.
The kind of person that has to write for the people. Like, I have this perfect role.
Yeah.
I love Keitel.
So in that, I just off of that, I mean, I think this movie is a masterpiece. I would love to give this movie a 5, but looking at it now and kind of retrospect, there are some little plot holes. Ryan said that, I mean, there are parts where the acting isn't impeccable.
Right.
But, I give this movie a 4. I would love to give it a 5, but just off of those bases, it doesn't stand up to a 5. But for an early directing, I mean, this is just amazing. So it gets a 4.
Yeah, no, to get to where I am, I agree. This is a solid 4. I love everything: the writing, the way the camera angles are, the fact that Chris Penn was wearing his own tracksuit.
Yeah.
I love everything about this. One of the reasons I like Tarantino is I recently saw him in an interview. Like, he says his screenplays are huge.
Yeah. And
then every day on the set, he rewrites it as he goes. No other people that I ever heard of does that. Period.
It's pretty rare. Because I mean, it's pretty rare to have the writer as the director.
Yeah.
So it's kind of.
Yeah, he pretty much knows what he wants.
And again, with this core group of people who understand, look, this guy's got this vision. We'll just kind of let him do what he wants, and he doesn't get noted to death from everybody else. Just sit there and actually rewrite the movie as he's making it. He has that luxury.
Yeah, this movie is an extremely solid 4. I agree. There's some points that I think, if in hindsight, that if they tweaked, would have given it a 5. But this is a solid 4. I could watch this movie all day and never have an issue.
I've seen this movie a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're watching it,
everybody's realized we've all seen this movie a lot.
We all own this movie.
Yeah, we do.
I own the Mr. Pink edition.
So do I.
I own the 20th anniversary edition because I couldn't find the pink version.
But I mean,
I know.
That's a big thing, and I'm gonna move from Quentin Tarantino into my movie news in a second here.
Well, I have some too.
Okay, well, I just want to jump into mine real quick because it's flowing with the director. He is a really big fan of movies. I've said this before, and it really does show in the way that he treats his movies.
Oh, hardcore.
And
he's really into his
discography.
discography.
Part of the reason why he is able to adjust his screenplay is because he knows the actors, and he's okay with the actors ad-libbing.
The characters that he wants.
I think knowing the characters is almost a little bit more important because if you choose the right actors, you can tweak the character and it should be within the actors you choose to be able to go with the modifications.
Yeah. And one of the guys that I also really respect who isn't really mainstream until actually the last 2 movies he did is Guy Ritchie. I really do like this guy. I think Ryan is a big fan of his as well.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, Snatch, and Rock and Rolla, which I still have yet to see. Ryan wants me to watch it.
Good.
And I'm really looking forward to that one.
That's the guy who was married to Madonna.
He's got a few flukes, but he's putting out another movie called The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Have you guys ever heard of this?
Oh, sure, the TV show.
Yeah, the TV show.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm actually really excited. This is coming out. I didn't write. Oh, no. Sorry. This one has just been announced that he's doing this.
Oh, okay. Huh.
Now, for those of you that don't know, this is an old TV show from the 60s that centers around an intelligence agency. And it's been compared to some of the Bonds.
Yeah, well, shoot, it's been compared to some of the Bonds.
I really like Guy Ritchie, and I am actually really kind of excited to see how his take on a Bond type movie is going to be. So now I have a lot of respect for him, except for Game of Shadows. I really thought his grotesque use of 3D, slow motion, stop and follow around and see this little explosion and blah, 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 blah.
Made?
I mean, which Game of Shadows?
Wait, was it anywhere near the Matrix?
It's 2011. Oh, wait.
Oh,
what?
no, yeah, this was the second Sherlock Holmes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because depending on what year it was made, if it was anywhere around the Matrix, every movie past that for 5 years overused slow motion CG.
Well,
shit,
the thing that I think he did here was he did a little bit of it in the first Sherlock Holmes.
A little.
I mean,
which played really well, but I mean, the second one got a little silly. I mean,
no. That did not get silly. That got grotesque. Grotesque.
But they had the dude in the dress. Okay. I mean, that's you're jumping the shark.
But I mean, it's just.
Or is the shark jumping the guy?
It's kind of really just, I was really bothered by that, and I really hope, because he has the opportunity to do it with this upcoming movie, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., that I really hope he steers away from it. I really hope he learned his lesson, type of thing.
Well, here's the question, since I've never seen The Man of U.N.C.L.E., I've never even been able to find it online. How close was it, the gadgets to the Bond to get smart? Was it silly over the top with gadgets?
I haven't actually watched the show either. I just did a little bit of reading up and kind of some research on it. Ryan, have you seen it? Have you seen a few episodes? Yeah,
because I've never been able to find it.
Not in a long time. I know my grandfather was actually kind of a fan of those because he loved him some basic cable.
So
they always played the shit out of those.
Yeah, I don't know if this one has a lot of gadgets or not, or if it's more like kind of like mixed between Mission Impossible and there, where there wasn't a lot of gadgets, there was just knowledge.
No, I think it was downplayed a little more than Bond was.
Okay.
Because if that's the case, I can see it being better. If it's not the case, then I think this movie is you're gonna be abusing CG.
Well, see, this is the thing that about the new Bonds, the Daniel Craig version, is they steered really away from the gadgets.
With no exploding pen? Sorry, we don't do that now.
Or the watch.
Yeah.
The laser watch.
Yeah, went really old school with the Aston Martin.
Yeah. I was so happy to see that.
Oh, matter of fact, random trivia. They actually printed a bunch of those cars with a 3D printer so they could destroy them, because the original Aston Martin is worth way too much as a Bond car.
Absolutely.
So moving on from that, Guy Ritchie is the guy that I really like, and like I'm saying, I'm looking forward to this film. I hope he steers away from where he has been going with the Sherlock Holmes. If he is going to go doing the stop motion and the kind of like fast forward, rewind stuff, it should be more like the Sherlock Holmes, the first one.
But I mean, even before that, I mean, I really like Guy Ritchie's sort of sensibility as far as how he likes to tell his stories, and you see him bring a little bit to that when he went all studio on everybody with Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah,
the first and the second one, because I mean those were just big studio releases.
Yeah. I think it comes down to, with the use of 3G and computer graphics, is when it comes down to one thing, it's just like cars. Will it drive the plot? Does it look good? What's the reason for it? I think the people you should watch is Peter Jackson. If you've seen most of his movies nowadays, 3G and 3D computer graphics are only used to tell the story. They're not used to, for lack of better, to abuse it. It's not this, hey, look at this, look at that. If you watch Lord of the Rings, he's using old school technology and new school technology to combine the uses to actually tell the story without it being abusive.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Have you heard of Ender's Game?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never read the books, but I've heard it's really good.
Have you read the plot of the movie that's coming out?
Everything I've read, it's almost like Halo.
That's exactly what I said. To me, it sounds like a ripoff of the Halo story.
But unfortunately, Halo came
with
last.
Starship Troopers thrown in.
Well, the thing is, Ender Game's old. I mean, I think it's from the 80s or even earlier.
It is old, but I mean, it's just... It's not something I think that is really going to take off.
I'll be honest. I think the people who really like I think this has the potential to be a cult classic. Whether it goes a big hit, I don't know. But there's enough people who like Ender's Game that this movie could make money just by DVD sales.
So you think it's kind of like what's it called? What's that? Hunger Games.
Yeah.
That's like a ripoff of Battle Royale.
Yeah, but this book is before. I don't know about Starship Troopers. That's an old book. I think Ender's Game is in the 80s or the 70s, so it's before a lot of stuff. So if anything, you could say that Ender's Game gave people idea for Halo.
Okay.
The basic soldier story.
That's interesting.
Or
Except
at least
for the thing that
of
he's supposed to have some like mental stuff or
Yeah.
powers or something. So it's not quite like Halo. It's a little bit different, but it's an elite force.
What about the movie Soldier with Kurt Russell? Bad movie, I realize, but
wow.
well,
Moving on.
story-wise.
So if you look at 2013, all I can really see in the future for this coming year is end of the world movies and zombie movies. I mean, like World War Z, Maggie, the end of the world, After Earth, which is kind of looking all right. It's a Shyamalan Ding Dong, Will Smith, and Jaden Smith, which I like those two.
Mad Max.
Evil Dead, The Host, Warm Bodies, and like you said, Mad Max. And there's also a couple that I think are going to end the world, like Fast and Furious 6, Hangover 3, which, I mean, is that like the new National Lampoon?
Which one?
The Hangover 3. We got Scary Movie 5 coming out, G.I. Joe Retaliation.
Well, here,
and,
wait,
hold on. I got one more for you guys. And we can't forget Ryan Gosling's new flick, The Place Beyond the Pines, which is this is the premise. Are you ready? Are you all sitting down for this one?
No.
A motorcycle stunt rider considers a crime in order to provide for his wife and a child, and the act puts him on a collision course with a cop turned politician. Now, what does that sound like to you guys?
Boring.
Drive. And it also looks like he's got a crappy leather jacket on, too.
Does he leave it with crusted blood all over it the whole time?
It's a ripoff of Drive.
Well,
it literally
sort of.
sounds
It's the same role, but
it's the same
different movie.
freaking role, except for this time, instead of some guy who he's like hitting on the wife and trying to take care of the kid, he has the wife and the kid. That's really what it sounds like.
Wow.
But all right, so I'll give you guys a little bit of hope. And coming forward in Christmas of next year is 47 Ronin.
Oh, really?
Yes. Now this director is called Carl Rinch. I think that's how you pronounce it. And this is very interesting because he only has short films to his credit. So this is an up-and-coming director that I'm going to go look at. I'm going to try to track down his shorts so I can watch him and to see what he's capable of. But I have really wanted to see a movie like this because this is what, if you guys know the movie Ronin, this is what they were talking about in the movie.
Well, there was that one scene with the old man who was explaining the whole story of the
exactly
of the Ronin.
And that's what this movie is about. It's about those Ronin ninjas.
So as long as there's no over
Samurai.
the top
Or samurai, sorry,
chase
yes.
scene like in Ronin.
Not the ninjas, but
blasphemy.
shut up. What'd you say? What was that?
Huh?
Do you have anything to discuss? Huh? What?
Yeah.
What? No?
I just wanted to say I'm looking forward to This Is 40. It looks good.
Which one?
Wow.
This Is 40.
This is 40.
Yeah,
Which
the
one's
Judd
that?
Apatow flick with Leslie Mann and Paul Rudd.
Yeah. Okay.
I was going to say the one I'm looking forward to is the new J.J. Abrams Star Trek, Descent into Darkness.
Yes.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
I've actually pulled Orion and been trying not to pay attention to it,
Yep.
just so I can be surprised.
I've gotten really good at it now.
Really?
Oh yeah, well shoot, I did it with Dark Knight Rises. Didn't
I
see
don't
anything
know
about it
how
until I
you-
saw it in the theater.
I don't know how
was
you
hard.
did that. That's impressive. That's really impressive.
That is pretty impressive, even with the
Yeah,
shooting.
I didn't even look at any bus stop ads.
The other one, do you ride the bus a lot? The other
No,
one,
but I have
You
to
can't
drive
go
with horse
past
blinders on
like
just
it.
to not glance off to the right
Yeah.
and see what the hell Bane was gonna look like. You know?
the other one that looks interesting is possible story for Transformers 4.
No, of course there
is
is.
the
There's possibly a story for Transformers 14.
Well, the Unicron.
Yeah,
I hope
big
not. Yeah,
joke.
Unicron might be in the fourth one.
Who gives a shit at this point? I mean, they've burned us so many times.
Well,
I
no,
mean, the
here-
people that go back are just glutton for punishment.
Here's kind of what I'm hoping, just because I think it would be funny. The original 1980s cartoon movie had Unicron. I'm
Yeah, I
hoping
know.
it's going to be on a dead-on copy.
But
That would would be kind of funny.
Because that's why I want to see it. Just because it's going to not have Shia LaBeouf, not going to have any of that. I just want to see it just because I want to. I just think it would be funny as hell. Because to do it, they got to have the Dinobots.
And who's the whore? What's her name? Who was in that movie too? It was Shia LaBeouf.
Jamie Foxx?
No, the whore.
Megan Fox.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, she annoyed the crap out of me in that movie too.
She annoyed the crap out of everybody. She even annoyed the crap out of Steven Spielberg or one of those people enough that she got like fired from her job.
Well, I think the only thing that bugged me about the Megan Fox character and what they did to the character.
We've gone over. Yeah.
Yeah, we've gone over. So any other final finishing statements before we end today's program?
You know, no, I'm just laughing so hard about Ryan just saying that because we seriously did get burned a ton.
Oh, hardcore.
Yeah, but at this point, I think they think that we could just do this forever because people still seem to keep coming.
Well, they do that
thing.
with Fast and Furious movies.
I mean,
this only stops when you people stop going to see this shit. You understand that?
Yeah,
you can't go see it if it. Ah, shit.
Okay, just breathe.
Calm down. Down. Good boy. So, ladies and gentlemen, so ladies and gentlemen, this is another rare hat trick for real Flix reviews. I gave this movie, I gave Reservoir Dogs a 4. James gave it a 4, and Ryan gave it a 4.
And next week we're watching Transformers.
Dear God, thank you, we're not.
And the week after that, Ryan's not going to be here because Ryan will be dead.
Yeah, Ryan will shot himself in the face.
Next week we should be doing the movie Django Unchained, which is for another Quentin Tarantino movie.
Who's going to see that shit Christmas Day?
I can't.
I think I'm going to. I'm trying to talk to my parents to go with us.
I want.
Well, see, I'm just gonna wait till everybody's, the kids are all, beaked up on sugar and running around with their stuff. Everybody's gonna be distracted by them. I'm gonna just slip out the back door and go.
Don't forget your yarmulke.
Oh, of course not.
You stole enough of them.
Sorry, people out there that don't know that joke. Jews go to.
Didn't steal it.
Movies.
There was a dispenser that had them. It was.
So, ladies and gentlemen,
just go in and snatch one off a guy's head.
So, ladies and gentlemen, next week's Real Flix reviews may be a little late, but it will be next week.
But it's Christmas, for crying out loud, so cut us some slack.
Yeah,
exactly what he said. So, ladies and gentlemen, for Jonathan Charney, James Stevens, and Ryan Preston, we'll see you next week.
They will support you. They will do referrals between clients. You can't ask for a more complete marketing package.
We love the windfall!
And you can too. Think advertising with the Windfall couldn't get any better? Well, it just did. For only $125 for a 30-second commercial filmed by Old Guy Tech TV, you can be seen and heard.